I'd like to start this video by saying that I'm by no means a professional nail tech. However, I do watch my very professional nail tech do this to my nails every 2 weeks, so I'm hoping that I've learned a few tips along the way that you guys will find helpful. You know what? I actually think my nails could look a lot worse for being nearly a month without going to the nail salon. So to remove any kind of nail dipping system, SNS, acrylic or even gel nail polishes, you will need some acetone, and preferably just acetone straight up. You'll also need a nail file, or maybe 3 if you're as bad at this as I am, some cotton wool balls, some tin foil, your gel base coat and top coat and color, which I'm using all from Opalac, and then your UV LED lamp. First things first, I am filing or buffing. I actually don't have a buffer, so I'm using my nail file just to buff off that top coat of shininess on my nails. And this is just going to help the acetone to penetrate the nail a lot quicker than it would otherwise. And trust me, this is already going to be a process. Our nail techs are worth every dollar we spend with them, so you really do want to speed this up as much as possible and make it as easy as you can. I'm then taking my cotton wool balls and soaking them in the acetone, and I then place this onto my nail and then wrap it up with a piece of tin foil. This is going to help dissolve, break down. I don't know the technical term for this, but it's basically going to turn the SNS into some kind of mush that you can then take off your nail a lot easier. Good explanation, Rachel. You can wrap your nails in tinfoil as neatly or as messily as you like. I have clearly chosen the messy option for this. And I then let my nails soak in this for at least 20 minutes, but preferably half an hour. Preferably go and watch your favorite TV show and then come back to it. I think I left this on for maybe 30 or 40 minutes. I did get a bit caught up in an episode of Orange is the New Black. And when I came back to it, I pulled the tinfoil pieces off of my nails while applying pressure to them to try and get as much SNS off with that pull as possible. However, my SNS is done very professionally, so it's a little challenging to get off. So I start filing as much of it off as I can, and some of it does come off this way, and then I reapply the tin foil. I just pop that back over for another 10 to 15 minutes to let it soak again. And then this time when I took the tin foil off, I then filed the rest of the SNS off, and it came off much easier. Once I well and truly got all of the product off of my nails, I then decided to cut them down. I know that a lot of people say that SNS or acrylic or whatever they get done makes their nails weak and papery thin. However, my nail tech doesn't use a drill when she does my nails. She does all of her filing by hand. And I have to say that I think that makes a huge difference to the quality and the health of your nails, because mine felt completely fine. They didn't feel papery or thin at all. The thought of bendy nails actually gives me goosebumps. But I did decide to cut my nails down, which I do every fortnight at the nail salon anyway. I like to keep them fairly short, and honestly, I'm doing a lot of gardening in isolation and I want to keep my nails looking cute and I don't want them to break, so giving them the best chance they have, and I'm keeping my nails short for that. And now that they're cut down to a length that I like, I'm going to shape them. I like my nails to be a coffin or a ballerina shape, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like square, but the sides angle up into the square, like a skinny little square. To keep your nails super square up the top, it's best to hold the nail file straight up and down against them and file from there. You know how to file, back and forth motion, lots of them. Don't let there be any bend in the nail file. Don't let it angle up, don't let it angle to the side, because that's when it will become more rounded. And if you do want a more rounded nail, then that's how you do it. But for a more square vibe, then you want to keep that straight up and down. And then to do the sides, I actually like to sit the nail file against the nail in the nail bed, and I use that as my guide for the angle, and I file from there. Now it's time for the base coat, and I'm using the Opalac base coat for this. Your base coat is a really important coat to get done nicely, because that is what your colored coats will follow and will stick to. So if your base coat goes all over your nail beds and all of the skin around your nails, then chances are your colored polish on top of that is going to follow. So make sure you nail your base coat as best as possible, and then by the time you get to your top coat, it's no big deal. My very best advice when painting your nails with gel nail polish is once you think you've got the right amount of product on your brush, remove some, because trust me, I learned this the hard way. You do not want too much product on your brush because it may take longer to set, or it may actually just not set properly at all. And the other bad thing that can happen is the polish can just slide down your nails before you set them, and then it becomes a blob, and then they completely lose their shape and they don't look cute at all. And then you set it under the light and then it's stuck that way until you redo your manicure. So trust me, you want to do a really, really thin coat of this stuff for every layer. The process I like to do for this is to do my 4 fingers on one hand first. So I paint them and then set them. Every round of nail polish needs to be set for 90 seconds. And yes, I do use a stopwatch for this, so I get it right. After doing those first 4 nails, I then do my thumbs separately. And I do this because if you sit your thumbs in with the rest of your hand, then they're not going to get the light all over the entire thumb. And so the under part of your thumbnail might not be set at all. And then I go on to do the other 4 fingers on my other hand, and that is the base coat done. I'm then moving on to the nail polish color, and I'm using the shade Dear Sheer. This is a beautiful sheer pinky nude color, and it's actually really similar to the colors I get in the nail salon in the dipping system. I usually get an OPI dip, and I'll often get the shade Love is in the Bear, or put it in neutral, or what's the other one I like? Oh, Bubble Bath. And so they're all really sheer, beautiful vibes as well. And this is really, really similar to them. As an added bonus, choosing a color like this is probably a great idea if you're new to this like I am, because even if you stuff it up, you won't be able to tell. No one else will be able to tell. Whereas if you're doing a more bold color or a darker color, your mistakes are going to show up really, really easily. I'm hoping to get the hang of this within a few weeks, so I would love to do a dark polish for winter. So I followed the same process for this, doing my 4 fingers first and then setting them for 90 seconds, making sure the polish is super thin on every coat. And after I do both hands like this, I apply a second coat of the coloured polish. This isn't as important when it's such a sheer shade like this, but if you were doing, again, a dark colour or a more bold colour, you would definitely want to make sure you do the 2 coats of colour just to make sure it's opaque and that the colour looks nice and even. When I paint my nails, I like to do it in about 3 strokes to keep things nice and smooth. I find that if I do multiple strokes and do smaller strokes, that it looks a little less seamless. So I do 1 stroke straight down the middle of the nail, and then I follow the curve of the nail on one side and then the curve of the nail on the other side, and then that is the nail done. So once I've done 2 rounds of the colour and the setting of that polish, I then move on to top coat. This is a really nice high shine glossy top coat, and again, this is really easy. If you make a mistake, it's no big deal because it's clear. At the very end, I just shove both of my hands under the LED light so that they can set for a little longer. Does this make a difference? I don't know, but it sounded like a good idea at the time just to make sure everything was completely set, but I did forget to film this part. And after you finish setting your final coat, you'll probably notice that your nails feel sticky. So I then grabbed my nail polish remover. This one is acetone free, and I'm not sure, I think you can use nail polish with acetone for this, but maybe not straight up acetone. I'm not 100% sure. Again, not a professional. But I just take some of this on a cotton pad and rub it all over my nails, and that makes them super shiny and no longer sticky. And after my nails spent all that time with acetone, I decided to treat them a little. So I actually put a facial oil on them because I didn't have a nail oil. And then I massaged in this Body Shop hand cream, and it is strawberry flavored. It is incredible. It smells so good, and it reminds me of being a kid when I would go and buy all the Body Shop lip balms, but mostly I just bought the strawberry and the mango ones. But it smells so good, and my hands feel so fresh and so hydrated afterwards. And that is my nails finished. I feel super proud. I think they look super cute. And yes, I'm expecting a job offer from my nail salon any day now.